Good morning, all. Camelback Trading 2724 coming to you this Thursday morning, June 11th. Looking at the last 4 days of the market profile of the SPY ETF here on Window Trader. And after a 4-day balance, look where we are. Going into a 2-day balance, filling a tremendous gap and creating a tremendous gap. Let's go over a couple things, some little fun facts to say what's going on in this market. We've traded, I'm going to say approximately 110 days this year, 110 trading days. This is the first downside gap in the month of June. This is the 60th gap of the year. So we've had gaps, and some of them have been rather small, but some have been rather large, as you can see, over 50% of the time. Non-thinking machines, right? A little nuance yesterday. We had an outside day down, right? We first took out the day's low, then went out and took out the day's high. Thought, hey, look at this, late in the day, maybe we'll have an outside day up. Instead, we end below yesterday's low. Below the previous day's low for an outside day down. Little nuance. That was bearish. Did I expect us to wipe out this entire gap? Absolutely not. Sellers have had their chances many times. We went over that in the video last night. And now, not only they getting into the gap, they're filling this gap in one shot, leaving another tremendous gap. We had a perfect POC yesterday in SPY, 13 for 13 wide. Again, I said this in last night's video. The last time we had one, I believe, was back in October. Odds of getting back to it soon would have been good because buyers and sellers were very happy. We didn't see it for at least 4 months. I said last night, could this be the case on the upside now? Well, we'll see. This gap's not going to make it easy to get back to that 13 wide POC. Triple Qs, NASDAQ, whatever you want to, NQ, said it was getting totally stretched out. I said at some point there's going to have to be some correlation between the two, the ES and the NASDAQ. Well, right now this morning, the Triple Qs are looking to gap lower and leave a true island top where they gapped open yesterday morning to the upside to an all-time high, and now we're gapping lower from that all-time high to the downside. A true island top, nothing above it. That remains to be seen if that's held. Usually all-time highs aren't put in with a crescendo like that where we have an island top. I said this would be healthy for the market to pull back. I've been saying that, been beating the drum on that. However, not in this fashion. It's one thing to correct poor structure, another to create more poor structure. So it remains to be seen how this plays out. So let's go over destinations for this morning. So right now on the upside, my pre-market high is 314.85. That would be our first upside destination. And then until we get more market generated information, it would be the gap fill up at 318.22, yesterday's low. Right now it's a 700 tick gap. Right? We had the 673 tick gap back in February. This one is rivaling it the same way. That's the only upside destinations I'll give you, because above that we don't have anything to the perfect POC of 319.95. Now let's go over downside destinations. What we'll be looking at right now, we're trading at the lows of the morning. 311.38 is the low for this morning. We're trading right there. Right now we have a 9 wide at 311. Well, obviously the 313 daily high is that gap's getting filled. Unless, well, you know what? I shouldn't say that. We still have just over an hour. So I'm still going to use the gap from June 5th. It's a 416-point gap that's about to get filled. But we'll still use it. You never know if we rally in the next hour. 313 would be your first destination, filling that huge gap from June 5th. Then below that, we have 311.25, which right now we're trading below, but it's pre-market. It doesn't count. We were 9 wide June 4th. Then we don't have anything to the daily low of that day of 309.08, and then filling another gap of 308.13. That's a 95-point gap from June 3rd. Below that, that's the price probe from that day. 307.26 from June 2nd, and then 306.41, 10 wide from June 2nd. I Told you yesterday there's a pretty good void and vacuum in prices as we go, right? This is a huge void in price with the gap. And then as you start coming in, again, there's some huge voids in prices. Algos are heat-seeking missiles. They have to program themselves to certain levels. Now, unless you're going to get the next time frame in here and start picking up some tremendous volume where they do not care about those destinations and reference points, they should become very, very good focal points for us as our day evolves. Pre-market volume, 2.8 million with just over an hour to go, so it's pretty good. We'll see over the next hour how it reacts. What's the game plan for this morning? Well, again, it'd be kind of silly for me to say, well, gap rules apply, I'm just going to short it. You can do that if you want, but we're down 2.5% already. So, with a tremendous gap above us, am I going to short that on the opening? No. Does that mean I'm going to be a buyer on the opening? Of course not. There is absolutely the course of action for this morning is to wait for a period to form. Okay? I mean, the first attempt I would make in a period, if it was to drive down to the low of the fourth to this other gap, well, then I would take probably a call play because I know my out. The out would be, again, if this gap fills. I would be willing to take that heat. But am I going to buy it here? Absolutely not. I'd rather see it drive down prior to the opening, be opening around here. At least I know my out. So that would be the only play I would look at. And that's not because I think the market's good. It's because I would think, just like it gets stretched out on the upside, this is kind of mindless machine trading, that it would get stretched out to the downside maybe initially. That's the only thing I would look at. If in the next hour we open even lower, maybe I'd take a long here against the price probe and be out below the POC from that day. Now, as far as a sale, if we're to open and just drive straight up, back up, and then taper off somewhere inside this gap, I'd look to take a put play. But again, that gap's going to be tremendous now to the upside, so we have to see what kind of overnight correction we would get. Zero harm in letting the market form. I had a great day yesterday. I didn't trade after G period. So, who cares if you don't trade in A and B today, or A, B, C, and D? I know I will, but I'm just saying. It's not the amount of trades you make, it's the quality of the trades you make. Don't go looking for them. Let them come to you. And we will be discussing all of this in our webinar this Saturday morning at 10 a.m. So go check out that webinar video I have out here on YouTube and on Twitter and sign up. Now, let's go to the charts. Yes, we're coming in, but again, the monthly, still one time framing up 2 months. Right now, we're getting back inside of March's range, right? 313.84, but again, it's just a monthly. Is this a healthy pullback? I think it is. I don't like the way it's being done on the daily, but as far as the longer term is concerned, I have no problem with what this market's doing. Okay, it is only June 11th. So, you're not going to go straight up. It's unhealthy if you do that. So I don't mind pulling back here. So the monthly's still in good shape. Of course, eventually, by the end of the month, you'd like to close above 313.84. But again, to me, there's nothing wrong with this. Weekly. Now, we're one time framing up 3 weeks. This is week 4 right now. However, here's the danger that the buyers face. You don't want to take out last week's low of 303.06, and you certainly do not want to close below last week's low, because then that would mean an outside week down. That's pretty bearish. Not only that, most likely it would put you now then back below the 302.50 level and back inside this balance. So even though this is, again, we said they were going to have trouble at the 325.85 level with this huge gap. I'm still not concerned as of yet in the weekly. I will be concerned if we take out last week's low, and certainly even more concerned if we close below it. So that's something to keep an eye on. And then the daily, and this is the one that's erratic, mindless, you name it. Take it up on all these gaps, and now instead of taking back poor structure in the proper way, they're just going to gap lower by 700 ticks. So We're going to have a huge gap. We're coming out of balance to the downside, right? The next destination will be 309.08. That's the bottom of this daily low, and then the other gap. I mean, I said yesterday, hey, it would be great to form a nice balance here, trade sideways before we go up. I did not anticipate or suggest that gapping lower by 700 ticks is the way to do it, as far as I'm concerned, right? I just think poor structure, creating poor structure with other poor structure, that's two wrongs don't make a right. But we'll see how it happens. And then just quickly, I want to show you the triple Qs. So here's yesterday's all-time high. We gapped higher. Right now we're gapping lower. So 244.51. That's an important number. Even if we trade the SPY and the ES, I still think it's an important number to keep an eye on. Right? Bulls are going to want to fill that gap, 244.51. If not, you have an island top at the all-time high, and then we see if we start rolling over. Remember, if you're in my trading room, my voice channel room, we're going to be doing up-to-the-date updates prior to 9:30. And then you're basically getting a play-by-play, what the profile looks like as it's unfolding, what our trading looks like, what to do as the day evolves. Good luck trading today. Have a great day, and we'll recap at 4 p.m.